My name is Maya Kensington. I'm 29 years old. And last Wednesday at 7:23 p.m., my engagement didn't end with screaming or a shattered vase. It ended with a sentence so smug, so casually cruel, that it almost sounded rehearsed. I was at the sink, hands buried in warm soap water, scrubbing a pan that still smelled like garlic and lemon. The kitchen light hummed softly above me, the kind of domestic scene people post online with captions like "building a life together." Behind me, Spencer's shoes hit the floor. 1, 2. 1, 2, like punctuation. "You're really going to act like this?" he asked. I didn't turn around yet. I rinsed the pan slowly, watching the foam spiral down the drain like something disappearing on purpose. "Like what?" I said. "Like math is real?" He scoffed. I finally looked over my shoulder. Spencer Hale, my fiancé, my almost husband, the man my mother had already started calling family, stood in his tailored jacket like he'd stepped out of a cologne ad. He was handsome in a way that always looked intentional. Even his messes looked curated. In his hand was a shopping bag. Not groceries, not something boring and responsible. A boutique bag with thick rope handles and tissue paper that whispered luxury. "I needed it," he said, already defensive, already performing. I wiped my hands on a towel. "Spencer, that was $1,200. His jaw tightened. And we're supposed to be saving for the wedding." He rolled his eyes like I'd insulted him by being practical. "We are saving." I let out a short laugh, but there was no humor in it. "We're saving the way people start diets on Mondays." Spencer dropped the bag onto the counter like it was proof I should admire him. "Why are you making this a thing?" he snapped. "Because it was a thing. Because the venue deposit was paid. Because the guest list was finalized. Because the invitations were half designed. Because my father, who rarely asked for anything, had asked me quietly last month, 'Are you sure he respects you?' I'd said yes without thinking. Now my throat felt tight around that memory. "It's a thing," I said carefully, "because you promised we were building a future, not financing your ego." That did it. His expression shifted, not into guilt, not into apology, into offense, like I'd forgotten my role in his story. He leaned forward, palms flat on the counter, close enough that I could see the faint line between his eyebrows, the one that always appeared when he didn't get his way. "You know what your problem is?" he said. I waited. My heart was doing that unpleasant sprint it does when you sense something is about to hit you. "My problem," he continued, "is you're acting like you're some kind of prize." I blinked. "Excuse me?" Spencer laughed, sharp, almost delighted, like he'd been waiting to say this. "Maya," he said, drawing out my name the way people do when they're patronizing, "I could replace you in 24 hours. Flat out." For a second, the kitchen went silent except for the hum of the light and the distant traffic outside. I stared at him, not because it hurt in the way he intended, but because it was so revealing. That sentence didn't come from anger. It came from belief. He genuinely thought love was a marketplace, and I was just one item on a shelf. And the worst part? His eyes were bright, confident, like he'd just checked me. I turned off the faucet with a soft click, dried my hands slowly, and set the towel down with care. I could feel my pulse in my fingertips. "Okay," I said. He frowned. "Okay?" I picked up my phone from the counter and glanced at the time. 7:23 p.m. Then I looked him dead in the face. "Go for it," I said. "You said 24 hours. Prove it." Spencer blinked once, like his brain had to reboot. "What?" "We're done," I said, calm enough that my voice surprised even me. "Clock's ticking." His mouth opened, then closed. His face cycled through emotions so quickly it almost looked like bad acting. Shock, amusement, irritation, and then finally that smug certainty again. "You're bluffing," he said, voice low. "You wouldn't dare." I tilted my head. "Try me." He scoffed, leaning back like a man settling into a chair he owned. "Where would you even go?" The question wasn't curiosity. It was control. He wasn't asking because he cared. He was asking because he truly believed I had nowhere without him. I walked past him toward the bedroom. Each step felt like crossing a line I couldn't uncross. Spencer followed, talking fast now, throwing words like darts. "You can't even pick a show on Netflix without asking me first," he said. "You don't know the passwords to half our accounts." Our accounts. As if my life belonged to a shared folder. I opened the closet and pulled out a suitcase. Then another. Spencer's voice rose. "My mom loves you, Maya. She already bought her mother of the groom dress. You're going to embarrass everyone because you're mad about a purse?" "No," I said, folding clothes with a steadiness that felt almost surreal. "I'm leaving because you just told me I'm replaceable." He laughed again, but this time it had an edge. "You're being dramatic." I kept packing. He stepped closer. "You know how many women would kill for what you have? You know how many would beg for a ring from me?" I didn't answer, because in that moment, something clicked into place so cleanly it scared me. This wasn't a fight. This was who he was when he thought he was losing. Spencer leaned in, lowering his voice like he was about to deliver the final, fatal blow. "You're nothing without me," he said. "I'm the one who made people take you seriously." I froze, not because it stung the way he wanted, but because I realized he meant it. He genuinely believed he was the sun, and I was just someone lucky enough to orbit. I exhaled through my nose and zipped the suitcase shut. In under an hour, 3 years of my life fit into 2 duffel bags and a backpack. I texted my best friend Marissa, "Can I crash at your place tonight?" Almost immediately, "Yes, right now. Are you okay?" I stared at the message for half a second, the way you stare at something warm when you've been cold too long. Spencer was still talking, still listing reasons I'd fail without him. "You don't even know the Hulu password," he repeated, as if that was a personality flaw. I walked past him with my bags. He reached out like he might block the door, then thought better of it. He didn't want to look like the bad guy. He wanted to look like the one who got dumped by an unstable woman. As I stepped into the hallway, my phone buzzed again. A new message. A name that made my stomach tighten, because Spencer never let me get too close to him, even as a friend. Caleb Vaughn, Spencer's so-called untouchable model friend. The man Spencer bragged about knowing. Like Caleb's beauty and status made Spencer better by association. Spencer always joked that Caleb was too perfect for real life and only dated rich socialites or athletes. Caleb's message was simple. "Heard you're single now. Spencer's already posting about it. You okay?" I stared at the screen. The timing was immediate. Like he'd been waiting. My thumb hovered, then typed back. "I'm fine. Leaving now." 3 dots appeared. Then, "Come to my place instead, please. We need to talk tonight." I stood in the hallway with my bags digging into my palms, the air suddenly feeling thinner. Behind me, Spencer called out, loud enough for the neighbors to hear. "You'll be back before tomorrow night." I didn't turn around, because I could already feel it, deep in my bones. If I went back, this would be my life forever. A series of tests I didn't agree to take. A love that required humiliation as proof. I looked at Caleb's message again. "We need to talk tonight." And for the first time in hours, I felt something that wasn't rage or shock. Curiosity. The dangerous kind. The kind that opens doors you can't close again. I texted Marissa quickly. "Change of plans. I'll be safe. I'll explain soon." Then I lifted my bags, walked out into the night, and stepped into a version of my life Spencer didn't control. I didn't know it yet. But the next time my phone buzzed, it wouldn't be Spencer trying to win. It would be Caleb, holding the first match to burn Spencer's entire fake world down. Caleb's building didn't look like the kind of place you crashed at. It looked like the kind of place you got photographed entering. Glass doors, a quiet doorman, soft lobby lighting that made everyone's skin look expensive. I stood outside for a full minute with my duffel straps digging into my shoulders, staring up at the windows, like I was trying to decide if I was about to make the smartest choice of my life or the messiest. Because here was the truth I didn't want to admit. I didn't trust the timing. I didn't trust Spencer's world. And Caleb Vaughn had always felt like a person from Spencer's world. Beautiful, untouchable, used as a prop in Spencer's bragging. But the message hadn't read like a prop. It read like concern. The elevator was silent all the way up. My reflection in the mirrored walls looked like someone who'd been quietly shoved out of her own life, hair not brushed, mascara smudged, eyes too sharp with adrenaline. When the doors opened, Caleb was already waiting in the hallway, not with a camera-ready smile, not with the effortless model charm Spencer always described like it was a weapon. He was barefoot. He wore gray sweatpants and a worn black hoodie. His hair was messy, like he'd shoved his hands through it too many times. And his eyes, when they met mine, held something that made my throat tighten. Relief. "Thank God," he breathed. I blinked. You're awake." "I've been awake," he said, stepping closer. "Come in, please." His apartment smelled like clean laundry and coffee. Not perfume, not cologne, not the artificial scent of impressing someone. A real place. A living place. He took my bags without asking, like his body moved before his words could catch up. Then he paused, almost as if he remembered himself. "Is that okay?" he asked softly. I nodded, because my mouth had stopped working properly. He set my bags by the couch and turned to face me like he was afraid if he looked away, I'd disappear. "I'm not trying to be weird," he said, voice low, careful. I saw his story, and Spencer posted already?" I cut in. Caleb's jaw tightened. Within minutes. Of course he did. Spencer couldn't bleed in private. He had to bleed online. Caleb pulled his phone out, hesitated, then held it toward me. On the screen was Spencer's Instagram story. a black and white photo of his hand holding a drink, captioned, "When you realize you deserve someone who appreciates you, starting over." Like I was a chapter he'd closed, like I was the villain in his comeback story. My stomach turned, but not from heartbreak, from disgust. Caleb lowered the phone. "I'm sorry." I exhaled hard. "I'm not surprised." There was a beat of silence where the air felt full of things neither of us wanted to say first. Then Caleb spoke, quiet but blunt. "Maya, I asked you to come because there's something I should have told you a long time ago." My spine went rigid. I didn't sit, I didn't take my jacket off, I stayed standing like I might need to run. "Okay," I said, "tell me." Caleb swallowed. His throat bobbed like he was forcing something heavy up from inside. "I'm going to show you something," he said, "and you're going to hate it." The way he said it, like he was offering his own throat first, made my chest tighten. He unlocked his phone, tapped through a folder, then turned the screen toward me. A text thread. A thread labeled Spencer, 2022. My eyes scanned the first visible message and my blood went cold. Spencer. Maya's getting too comfortable. Think I might swing to that finance girl from my yoga class. Caleb. That's messed up. Maya's solid. Spencer. Solid doesn't buy Maldives trips, babe, but she's stable enough till I find better. Spencer. Plus her credit score is golden. I already added myself as an authorized user on her Visa, LOL. My hands went numb. I stared at the screen like my brain refused to translate the words into reality. Because it wasn't just cheating. It was strategy. He'd been treating me like a stepping stone with a pulse. Caleb scrolled. More messages. Screenshots of Spencer's hidden dating app profiles, a Bumble bio I'd never seen, matches, flirtations, a list of names in his notes app, backups. One message made my stomach flip so violently I had to grip the back of the couch to steady myself. Spencer, if Maya ever gets annoying, I'll just guilt her. She hates being the bad guy. Spencer, and if she threatens to leave, I'll remind her she'd be nothing without me. I swallowed, throat burning. That sentence. He'd used it tonight like it was original, like it was spontaneous. But it wasn't. It was a line he'd practiced. Caleb's voice cut through my spiraling thoughts. I tried to tell you, he said, and it sounded like pain. I tried, Maya. I turned sharply. Then why didn't you? Caleb flinched, but he didn't back away. Because he threatened me, he said. And I know how that sounds, but he did. He walked to his kitchen counter, grabbed a glass of water like he needed something physical to hold. His hands were slightly shaking. He told me if I ever told you anything specific, he would ruin me, Caleb continued. He said he had proof I was a sugar baby in college. It's not true, but he had fake screenshots, fake DMs. He said he'd send them to brands, to agencies, to everyone. I stared at him. You believed him? Caleb's eyes flashed. I believed he was the kind of person who would do it. That landed hard. Because I had believed it too, in my gut. I'd just never allowed myself to say it out loud. He set the glass down and stepped closer again, carefully, as if approaching a wounded animal. I hated myself every time I saw you smile at him, Caleb said. Every time you defended him. Every time you posted something sweet and he didn't even look grateful. My mouth opened, but nothing came out. Caleb's voice softened, almost breaking. And the worst part is, I'm not innocent in this. I blinked. Well, what do you mean? He took a breath, like he was about to step off a cliff. I introduced you to him, he said. 3 years ago, at my birthday party, I did that. I know, I whispered. My voice was flat, hollow. Caleb's eyes shone with something raw. I did it because I thought he'd be better for you, he said. He was charming. He was ambitious. And you deserve someone who keeps up with you. My heart thudded, slow and heavy. Caleb's next words came out like a confession he'd been choking on for years. I've been in love with you since that night, he said. And I still introduced you to him anyway. Silence slammed down. It was so quiet I could hear the faint buzz of a refrigerator motor, like the apartment itself was holding its breath. I stared at Caleb. This couldn't be real. This had to be some weird, cinematic coincidence. Something that happened to people in stories, not in actual life. My voice shook. Caleb, why would you? Because I thought you'd never look at me that way, he interrupted, fast, like he had to get it out before courage left. And he was there, and he was looking at you, and you looked happy, so I stepped back. He laughed once, bitter, self-disgusted. And then I watched him slowly poison you. My throat tightened hard enough that it hurt. My emotions didn't come in a neat order. First I felt anger, then disbelief, then a sick kind of gratitude that made me want to cry. But underneath all of it was one terrifying thought. Spencer had been lying to me for years, and the person who knew had been right beside him the whole time. My voice came out hoarse. "So tonight," I said, forcing the words, "you just suddenly decide to be honest because I finally left?" Caleb flinched. "Yes," he admitted, "because he crossed a line I can't unsee." "He crossed a lot of lines," I snapped, sharper than I meant to. "I know," Caleb said, "but tonight he said he could replace you in 24 hours. He posted like you were nothing. And I couldn't let you walk into the next day still thinking it was your fault." I stared at the text thread again. My stomach turned, but something else rose up too, something solid and cold. Clarity. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't dramatic. I wasn't too sensitive. I had been manipulated. I dragged a hand over my face, trying to wipe away the heat gathering behind my eyes. "I need to sit," I said. Caleb nodded instantly, like he'd been waiting for permission to breathe. He moved to the couch, but didn't sit too close. Left space, gave me air. I lowered myself onto the edge of the cushion, like my body weighed twice what it did this morning. "Okay," I whispered, staring at my own hands. "Okay." Caleb spoke softly. "You can stay here tonight. Spare room. I'll sleep on the couch if you want. Whatever makes you comfortable." I looked up at him. In the dim living room light, with his hoodie sleeves pushed up and his hair still messy, he didn't look untouchable. He looked human, and that scared me more than anything. Because humans disappoint you. Humans lie. Humans want things. My phone buzzed. I didn't even have to look to know who it was. Spencer. And when I did look, my stomach twisted again. A message from him, short, smug, dripping with certainty. "Spencer, still waiting for you to come crawling back. Don't embarrass yourself, Maya." Caleb's phone buzzed too. He glanced down and his face hardened. "He's texting me," Caleb said quietly. I blinked. What is he saying? Caleb hesitated, then turned the screen toward me. "Spencer, if Maya's with you, tell her to stop pretending. She'll be back. Also, don't get any ideas. You're my friend, not her savior." My chest tightened with fury, so hot it almost made me laugh. Of course. Even now, Spencer was speaking like I was property that wandered off. Like this was a misbehavior, not a breakup. I took my phone and typed with shaking fingers. Then stopped, because any reply would feed him. Any reply would tell him he still had access. I looked at Caleb. "What happens if I don't respond?" I asked. Caleb's eyes didn't leave mine. "Then he panics," he said. A beat, and he gets louder. As if the universe wanted to prove him right, my phone buzzed again. Then again. Then again. Different numbers. Same man. The messages shifted rapidly, like he was flipping through masks looking for the one that worked. "Spencer, I didn't mean it like that." "Spencer, you're being dramatic." "Spencer, answer me." "Spencer, Maya, don't do this. Not after everything I've done for you." "Spencer, if you ignore me, you're proving you never loved me." I stared at the screen until the words blurred. And then, like a slap wrapped in silk, the final message arrived. "Spencer, you'll never find someone better than me." I inhaled slowly. Then I did something that felt like stepping off a cliff and realizing I could fly. I blocked him. Caleb watched, silent. I blocked the second number. Then the third. My hands were steady now, not because it didn't hurt, because I was done letting pain control me. Caleb's phone buzzed again. He glanced and grimaced. "He's posting," he said. My stomach clenched. What now? Caleb opened Instagram, turned the screen toward me. Spencer had posted a selfie, jaw clenched, eyes sad, the lighting perfect in that wounded hero way. Caption: "Some people show their true colors when you hold them accountable. Healing in silence." I let out a laugh, low, disbelieving. He's doing the victim thing already." Caleb nodded, jaw tight. He always does. My phone buzzed with the notification from a mutual friend. "Are you okay? What's going on?" Spencer wasn't just trying to replace me. He was trying to rewrite me. My chest tightened. But Caleb's voice cut through the chaos, calm and steady. "Maya," he said, "there's more." I stared at him. "More than this?" Caleb's eyes flickered away for a split second, like he was ashamed of what he was about to reveal. I have screenshots from the first time he talked about replacing you," he said. "And it wasn't tonight." Cold crept up my spine. Caleb scrolled, then held the phone toward me again. A message from Spencer dated months ago. "Spencer, if I ever need leverage, I'll remind her I chose her. Women hate feeling replaceable. It keeps them obedient." My throat closed. I stared at the word obedient like it was a foreign language. Caleb's voice was quiet. "You were never his partner," he said. "You were his proof." My eyes burned. I didn't cry yet, not fully. But something inside me cracked, and I could feel the pieces shifting into a new shape. Outside, the city moved like nothing had happened. But inside that apartment, I was finally seeing the truth. Spencer hadn't been joking. The 24-hour threat wasn't a tantrum. It was a declaration. And now that I'd called his bluff, I could already sense the next phase. Because Spencer didn't lose privately. He didn't lose quietly. He lost like a man who wanted the whole world to burn with him. Caleb's voice dropped even lower. And Maya, he said, he's not just trying to replace you. I swallowed. What do you mean? Caleb's eyes locked onto mine. He's trying to punish you for leaving, he said. And he's going to start with the one thing you still care about. Your reputation. My phone buzzed again. A new notification. A tag. Spencer had just posted a story with text splashed across it like a headline. Single. Taking applications. Watch me upgrade. And underneath it, like a dagger meant for me and only me, 24 hours starts now. I stared at it, my stomach twisting into something that wasn't fear anymore. It was something sharper. Something hungrier. Fine, I whispered. Caleb blinked. Maya? I looked up, my eyes dry now, voice calm in a way that startled even me. Let him try, I said, and this time, I held up my phone, scrolling back through the screenshots. This time I'm not watching blind. By morning, Spencer's 24-hour clock had turned into a live broadcast. I woke up on Caleb's spare bed to the soft buzz of my phone vibrating nonstop on the nightstand. For half a second, I forgot where I was. Then memory rushed back in like cold water. His words, the screenshots, the smug certainty in his eyes. I sat up and checked the screen. 27 notifications. Texts from mutual friends. Instagram DMs. Missed calls from numbers I'd already blocked once and apparently needed to block again. And then there was Spencer's Instagram. Caleb was already up. I could hear him in the kitchen, moving quietly, like he didn't want to startle me. When I walked out, he looked up instantly. You okay? He asked. I think so, I said, but define okay. He gave a tight smile and slid his phone across the counter. Spencer's latest story filled the screen. A mirror selfie at a gym I knew he hated. Jaw clenched. Veins flexed just enough to look intense. Over it, bold white text. Leveling up, watch this space. The next slide, a screenshot of his dating app matches, names blurred, numbers circled. Options. Then another slide, clearly meant for me. Some people confuse comfort with value. I let out a slow breath. He's not even trying to be subtle. Caleb shook his head. He never does when he thinks he's winning. And for the first few hours, Spencer probably thought he was. By noon, he'd posted stories from 3 different places: brunch, a rooftop bar, some co-working lounge with overpriced coffee, each one carefully framed to look spontaneous, each one screaming effort. Caleb didn't comment. I didn't respond. We watched quietly, like scientists observing a predictable reaction. By hour 6, the tone shifted. The captions got sharper, defensive. Where are all the real women? Funny how people switch up when they realize what they lost. Caleb glanced at me over his mug. He's starting to feel it. Feel what? The silence. At hour 9, Spencer posted a photo of a man's shoulder, clearly staged, clearly meant to imply intimacy. Caption: upgrade secured. I felt something twist in my stomach, not jealousy, embarrassment, for him. That guy looks confused, I said. Caleb squinted. Pretty sure that's Ryan. He sells vape pens. He tried to pitch me CBD gummies once. I snorted before I could stop myself, then froze, surprised by the sound. Laughter. It felt foreign, almost disloyal to the pain I was supposed to be feeling. By hour 12, the cracks were obvious. Spencer reposted comments hyping him up, but skipped over the ones asking, "Didn't you just get dumped?" and "Thought you said you were engaged." At hour 14, he deleted the upgrade secured story. At hour 16, he posted a black screen with text. People love to judge without knowing the full story. That was when my phone rang. Unknown number. I didn't answer. A voicemail followed seconds later. Maya, Spencer's voice said, softer now, almost reasonable. This isn't what it looks like. You know that. Call me. I deleted it. Caleb watched me do it, then nodded once, like I'd passed a test I didn't know I was taking. By evening, Spencer was unraveling publicly. He posted a crying selfie. Deleted it. Reposted it with a caption about healing. Deleted that too. Then a quote graphic about self-worth that didn't even fit the font. At 7:23 p.m., exactly 24 hours after his declaration, Caleb's phone buzzed. Time, he said quietly. My heart thudded, not from fear, but from anticipation. What now? I asked. Caleb hesitated. I was thinking we eat. I blinked. Eat? Tacos, he said. There's a place downstairs. Nothing dramatic, just food. Something about the simplicity of it felt radical. We went. No glam, no filters, just two people sitting across from each other in a small booth, paper plates between us. I didn't dress up. Caleb didn't either. When the food came, he lifted his phone. "Okay if I post?" he asked. I nodded. "As long as it's boring." He smiled, really smiled this time, and snapped a photo of the table. 2 plates of tacos, a bottle of hot sauce, no hands touching, no faces. Caption: "Good vibes." My phone exploded within minutes. Spencer called Caleb immediately. He put it on speaker. "What the hell is wrong with you?" Spencer shouted, his voice tinny but unmistakably furious. "You backstabbing snake!" Caleb didn't flinch. "Hey, Spencer, you knew exactly what you were doing." "Eating tacos?" Caleb asked mildly. "You're stealing my fiancé." I leaned forward. "Ex," I said clearly. "You dumped me, remember? 24 hours. There was a pause, a sharp inhale. "This was a fight," Spencer snapped. "You don't do this during a fight." "You told me I was replaceable," I said. "I believed you." His voice dropped, dangerous now. "You violated girl code." I laughed, short and sharp. "Girl code doesn't apply when you treat people like objects." He hung up. 10 minutes later, the smear campaign started. Spencer posted story after story claiming Caleb had always been obsessed with me, that he'd sabotaged our relationship. He tagged mutual friends, screenshotted old photos out of context. Then he made a highlight. He titled it Treason. By midnight, he was messaging me again, from new numbers, from fake accounts, from emails. "You failed my test. He's using you. Come home and we can fix this." My mom already picked her dress. I blocked everyone. At 11:07 p.m., the building security line rang. Caleb answered, then stiffened. "There's a man downstairs," he said slowly. "Says his stolen property is here." My stomach dropped. "Spencer?" Caleb nodded. Mascara running, crying, holding a box. Security footage pulled up on the TV. There he was in the lobby, arms waving, voice raised, phone held high. "I just want my things," Spencer yelled. "They stole my future." Caleb closed his eyes. He's live. Sure enough, Spencer was streaming on Instagram. "I'm here trying to get my stuff from my best friend who stole my fiancé," he cried to hundreds of viewers, "and they're calling the cops on me." Security asked him to leave. He refused. Police arrived. "What property is being held?" an officer asked. Spencer gestured wildly. "My emotional support items, a sweatshirt, memories." The officer blinked. "Sir, do you own anything in this apartment?" Spencer pointed upward. "My fiancé!" The officer sighed. They escorted him out, not arrested, just removed. The live stream kept rolling. Comments flooded in. "Didn't you say you could replace her in 24 hours? It's been 2 weeks, bro." "This you?" Someone tagged me. I turned my phone face down. Inside the apartment, it was quiet again. Caleb looked at me, concern etched across his face. "You didn't deserve any of that." I nodded. "I know." And for the first time, I meant it. Because somewhere between his first smug sentence and this public collapse, the power had shifted. Spencer wanted control. What he got was exposure. And this was only the beginning. The thing about men like Spencer is that silence doesn't teach them humility. It teaches them escalation. By the next morning, he'd decided embarrassment wasn't enough. He wanted consequences, for me. I found out because my phone rang at 9:14 a.m., and the caller ID made my stomach tighten. "Work," I answered with a steady voice I didn't fully feel yet. "Maya Kensington." There was a pause, then my manager's careful tone. "Hey, just wanted to check in. We received a strange call this morning." I closed my eyes. "What kind of strange?" I asked. She hesitated. "Someone claiming to be concerned about your professionalism. Said you'd been distracted, missing deadlines, creating an uncomfortable environment." I let out a slow breath. "Did they say my name?" "Yes." "Did they identify themselves?" Another pause. "No." "I didn't need them to." "I can explain," I said calmly, "and I can send screenshots if you'd like." She exhaled. "I figured. Given your record, this didn't really add up, but HR wanted it documented." When the call ended, my hands shook, not from fear, but from the realization that Spencer wasn't lashing out emotionally anymore. He was weaponizing systems. Caleb found me sitting on the edge of the couch, phone in my lap. "He tried to mess with your job," he said. Not a question. I nodded. Caleb's jaw tightened. "Okay, then we document everything." That became our rhythm, not revenge. Records, screenshots, timestamps, voicemails, emails, fake accounts, Spencer's posts during work hours, his live stream from the lobby, the donation links he posted under the guise of healing. Because yes, he'd started asking for money. First subtly, then openly. A story with soft music and text. Healing isn't free. If you've ever been betrayed, you know. Venmo handle, PayPal link. People actually sent money. Not much, a few $100s. But enough to tell Spencer something dangerous. That the performance still paid. Then came the next pivot. Victimhood. Spencer posted a long caption about recovering from emotional abuse. He didn't name me, but he didn't have to. Mutual friends knew. His friends reposted it with captions like, "Believe survivors." A podcast episode dropped, hosted by his friend Ashley. Some people reveal their true selves when they're rejected, Ashley said carefully. And sometimes the most manipulative people hide behind calm voices. I didn't listen past that. I didn't need to. Because while Spencer was trying to rewrite history publicly, something else was happening quietly. Caleb and I were building something that didn't need an audience. We walked at night, no destination, just movement. He showed me his design work, drafts he never posted because Spencer once joked it wasn't brand safe. I baked cookies at 1 a.m. because I couldn't sleep. He ate 3 and said nothing critical about the burnt edges. We didn't touch, not really. No rebound fireworks, no dramatic declarations. Just space and gentleness, which made the night Spencer showed up again feel even more jarring. It was 11:02 p.m. when the security line rang. Caleb answered. His expression changed instantly. "A distressed man claims his stolen property is inside," he said flatly. My chest tightened. Him? Caleb nodded. Security footage came up on the TV. Spencer stood in the lobby, eyes red, hair messy, clutching a cardboard box like a prop from a low-budget tragedy. "He's yelling," Caleb added, saying we're holding his grandmother's ashes. I blinked. "His grandmother is alive." "In Arizona," Caleb confirmed. Security asked Spencer to leave. He refused. Police were called again. This time, Spencer went live immediately. "I'm being oppressed," he cried into his phone, "by fake friends, by manipulators, by the system." 200 viewers, including his mother, commenting, "Stay strong, baby." The officer asked the same questions as last time. "What property is being held here?" Spencer gestured wildly. "My emotional support items, a sweatshirt that's basically mine, 3 years of memories." The officer pinched the bridge of his nose. "Sir," he said, exhausted, "do you have proof of ownership?" Spencer pointed at the camera. "My fiancé." I stood behind the screen, arms crossed, feeling oddly detached. They escorted him out. Not arrested. Just removed. Again. The live stream captured everything, including the moment someone commented, "Didn't you say you could replace her in 24 hours?" Spencer blocked them in real time. The next day, consequences finally arrived, but not from me. From someone he hadn't expected. The woman Spencer brought home during his 24-hour replacement attempt. Ryan's wife. Megan. She didn't scream. She didn't threaten. She got creative. Spencer's inbox flooded with MLM pitches, skincare, athleisure, crypto, mentors, wealth-building webinars. Then Megan sent screenshots, timestamps and all, to Spencer's PR agency. Thirst traps posted at 2 p.m. on weekdays. Lobby live streams during work hours. Donation begging under his real name. Spencer was placed on a performance improvement plan. 2 weeks later, it turned into a termination meeting. And then, like a man allergic to lessons, he made it worse. He created a PowerPoint, 42 slides, titled The Truth. It was sent to their entire friend group. Screenshots from years ago, out-of-context jokes, a chart titled Pattern of Betrayal. One slide read, "Didn't like my Instagram post fast enough." Another wore an outfit I said I didn't like. There was a timeline claiming Caleb had planned to steal me from day one. It might have worked if Spencer hadn't accidentally confessed to multiple lies inside it. Lying about income, about connections, about references, about me. Someone forwarded it to his company. The PIP became a pink slip. Caleb showed me the email quietly. I didn't cheer. I didn't feel triumphant. I just felt done. That night, Caleb sat beside me on the couch, not touching, just close enough to be real. "You don't have to do anything about this," he said. "You don't owe anyone strength." I looked at him, at the calm in his eyes, at the absence of performance. "I know," I said. And then, for the first time since this all started, I leaned my head on his shoulder. Not because I needed saving, but because I trusted him not to turn it into a story. Outside, Spencer was still talking. Still posting. Still spiraling. But inside that apartment, something steady had formed. And I knew, without needing to say it yet, that this wasn't the end of Spencer's chaos. But it was the end of his control over me. time didn't humble Spencer. It exposed him. 6 months after the lobby incident, he rebranded himself as a survivor. He launched a YouTube channel called Rising After Betrayal. The banner photo was black and white. His jaw was clenched just enough to look wounded, just enough to look noble. The first video was titled, "How to Spot a Future Cheater." I watched 3 minutes before closing the tab, because it was him. Every trait he described, manipulation, projection, gaslighting, image obsession, he pinned on an unnamed X. On me. The comments were ruthless. Isn't this the 24-hour replacement guy? This is the lobby live stream dude. Projection level, IMAX. He deleted comments for 3 days. Then he disabled them entirely. Meanwhile, quietly, my life kept growing in a direction that didn't need explanation. Caleb and I moved in together after 8 months, not because of a dramatic conversation, not because of fear of being alone, because it felt normal. We got a dog, Juniper, who refused to chew anything except my shoes. We planted herbs on the balcony. I learned that love could exist without being monitored. Caleb never checked my phone, never asked who texted, never implied he was doing me a favor by staying. One night, while we were cooking pasta, he looked at me and said, "You don't have to earn being here." I almost cried into the sauce. Spencer, on the other hand, kept trying to earn an audience. He dated aggressively. Every relationship lasted 2 weeks. There was a crypto guy with debt he hid behind motivational quotes, a self-help influencer who spoke in affirmations and asked Spencer to hold space for his inner child, a 22-year-old who called him Sir by accident. Each time Spencer posted "Found my forever," each time he deleted it days later. His Instagram became a graveyard of half-lived identities. 2 years after the night he said he could replace me in 24 hours, my phone buzzed with a number I didn't recognize. I knew anyway. "Spencer, I know you'll see this. I'm getting married next month." I didn't respond. I did look him up. The cardiologist was a first-year med student. The Porsche was 10 years old. The downtown condo was his parents' guest suite. Good for them, I thought, genuinely. 2 weeks later, Caleb proposed to me at the flea market, where we'd had our first real date. No crowd, no speech. Just a ring that meant something. We didn't post it. We told our families, our friends, our dog. Life stayed quiet. Until Spencer's sister Emma messaged me. "I need you to know something." He lied. Again. Turns out Spencer had told his fiancé I'd stolen a family heirloom ring, claimed I'd kept his grandmother's diamond. He pushed her into debt, insisting she needed at least 2 carats to heal from the trauma. Emma knew the truth. Their grandmother was alive and wore her rings daily. When the lie came out, the wedding didn't just crack. It collapsed. Last I heard, Spencer updated his dating bio. Previous engagement ruined by a bitter ex. I smiled when I read it. Not because I'd won, but because I finally understood something simple and freeing. Spencer never replaced me. Not because I was irreplaceable, but because he never saw people as people, only roles to fill. Caleb and I are getting married next spring. Small ceremony, close friends, no performances, no clocks, no tests, just 2 people choosing each other without needing an audience. And that's the only ending I ever wanted.